address your problem.
Let me turn my volume up on my cell phone.
Oh, yeah. Last week in our department head meeting, he was flipping through emails. And what was the noise, Jay? What noise was it making?
Annoying.
Yes. I mean, so we're sitting in the meeting, it's just...
It's not a meeting with some sort of entertainment.
Yeah.
This one old got in our Sunday school class one day.
Oh,
You always making a noise like that?
Can you tell me?
Yeah. They kept
I
putting
just wanted to leave. I didn't think I
this woman, she said,
No.
your phone's ringing. He said, ain't mine. 3 minutes later, she said, I think it is, it's out of your pocket. Oh, I forgot I put it in there.
Oh, no wonder I already had my ringer off. That's why I didn't hear it. Wonder why I wasn't getting any calls today.
All right, who we start with tonight? Chief?
Chief, you have gone, Chief?
I can, since Jay's here. You're going to let... You want me to go first?
As long as you're quick.
I'm asking you who.
I know. It's very slow.
You got any more of that?
What's that?
We don't have it. I don't have an agenda, did you?
Really?
Right in front of you. No, not for fire.
Then one here today, Chief.
Yeah.
So they can get
Yeah,
copies.
for fire. We all need a fire.
We all need fire.
Okay, very good.
Got one? Fire?
Good evening. May statistics, 34,195. You can see compared to 2014, 180, 849 transports compared to. So we're up, I don't know, 66 or something like that. You're the math guy. How much are we up?
You talking about this number from this
Yeah.
number?
Yeah, over last
That
year.
would be 77.
77, thank you. See, that's why he's the math guy. So, transports are up considerably. 95, of course, transports for the month. Mutual aids are comparable to what they are about every month. Interesting article in the paper, whatever, the weekend about New York City and their overtime. Did you see that or
No.
read it?
Brownout?
It just was talking about.
Brownout in East End Station or something?
Yeah, they were talking about the overtime and of course the firefighter union versus the city administration, but they're somewhat like you guys have always been. They are, and I think I told you last safety committee meeting that Chief Connor had called and said, we're going to rely more heavily on you guys. And that wasn't mentioned a bit or whatever. They were just talking about safety factors and all that. But we rely on each other, and when their manpower goes down, especially, and there's been a couple of days where we've taken quite a few calls going.
EMS run? Billing run?
Well, when you look at the mutual aids given, fire, it spells it out, fire, and then 26 EMS calls and 15 for Newark, 5 fire calls for Newark. So we're taking
conversion of actual billings on those 26.
I have no idea without going through Medville and actually
have to take
seeing
a look at the average.
But our EMS transports are up 59 or whatever, 69. But you're the math guy.
59.
59. Thank you.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
I bet you there's a calculator on that phone.
I bet you there is.
Don't ask.
I have the numbers wrote down, but you're on camera, and I wanted you to look smart.
That's Mr. Smart, right over here. Look over here. Focus.
I know, yeah.
Well, Jeff started to ask a question about the EMS billing. I know I think the minutes of maybe NERC's last council meeting, their councilman was questioning, or maybe during one of the safety meetings I was reading, but questioning about like whether they were losing EMS billing money because they weren't doing as many runs, and would that offset, if they...
The personnel.
The personnel. In other words, if we had people to run that medic and we were doing runs with it,
Yeah.
we'd get EMS billing. We're not doing it, so we're not doing those runs, so we're losing that and everything. And I don't know how you ever tried unless you just kept track of everyone, mutual aid in and out, and whether you actually got paid for it or not, and you get the minimum.
Right.
But it would be interesting to know that. You know what I mean? I know it'd be hard to track it, but
My sense
you know,
would be that they probably are not losing enough money in EMS billing to make up for what would be the salary requirements and benefit requirements of paying the staff, to be able to man that 24/7. So, it would be more than just 2 people.
Yeah.
My sense is that they are probably not losing enough EMS billing money to make up that difference.
Yeah. Because you figure if they filled it, the 3 people, let's say just go with 3, those 3 would all be overtime people.
Yes.
Because the reason they're filling is because people are off. So
That's
it would
right.
be 3 at overtime for 24 hours, let's say.
Yep.
And then how many runs would they make in that 24-hour period? And how many of them would be billable runs? And how much would you make off the billable run? I mean,
I'd be surprised.
it would be-
Salary and benefits, I'd be
It
surprised.
would be interesting, though, to kind of run that scenario.
If you
just
look
to
at
see,
the average, Tim, for 2014, 2015, runs versus billable runs, it's running about 56% year over year. Both years.
That's
So
good
that's
math.
Heath.
That's
Yeah,
good math, Jeff.
Yeah.
26,
Very good, Jeff.
We're probably looking at about 14 runs we got billed on here, okay?
Man, you're smart.
14 runs.
Well, I'll tell
It
you.
worked out to $500 a pop, and got about $7 grand, right?
Yeah.
Duh.
That's funny.
I'm surprised that the media hasn't called or whatever, and if they do, I mean, it is not Heath's responsibility to take it. We will help them, be a good neighbor, but it's not our job to take the overflow of their runs, and that's something they can brag and say, oh, it's not affecting whatever, but it is.
Yeah.
And when you look at their manpower, I wish I had half their manpower on duty. They get down to 14 and it's a crisis. We're running with 5 and you're running with 2 at times. And it's I don't know how we do what we do sometimes. But anyway, that being said, I have 2 legislative requests tonight. One, the first one is appropriate $100,000 from Fire Levy 1 fund to be used towards the purchase of our Pierce rescue pumper. Mr. Morrow is here, Auditor Morrow, to explain.
The financing?
Yes, sir.
We did some, we talked to Pierce, they had their own financing. We talked to Park, as we did with the AMR readers, and we found that keeping the money local is what we're going to do, because Pierce couldn't come up with the same numbers as Park did. So after tonight, I will be, first thing in the morning, be contacting Jenny Moorhead. We'll do the same type of financing that we did with Dennis Schwally, and I had that name on top of my head.
There you go.
It completely just went me. That we did in the past, and it looks like if all things go through, I would like to have it on for reading. I'll put it through my committee on Monday, and then that night put it through for you guys to read the council Monday night. So.
That was what, like 3.2%?
Yes.
I wiped it out on my phone, but from Park National based on a 5-year.
So, I'm just curious, what are we funding? What's the dollar number funding?
What is it? 5?
I know
The
what
total number is going to be $535,000.
That's the total cost of the truck. We'll put $100,000 out of the Fire Levy 1, so we'll finance the difference.
$435.
And by putting a lump sum down, we're going to save, based on Pierce, when you put the money up front, save another about $22,000 based on their paperwork. So the actual price of the truck will be around $513, $515, something like that. And that's just money up front, and they, they had a couple different options.
So with the 100,000 going on, it'd be 413 be left, right?
Yeah, well, we're going to finance the 432.
Okay.
So at the 5, yeah. Okay, right.
Finance that
435,
to make
60,
sure.
6, 7, 8, and we'll get a rebate check
Yeah,
back
okay.
at the end. Questions on that?
Any questions?
Let's just go through regular. I mean, we're going to read it once and read it 2 twice. And, I mean,
Let's talk about that. We've been in the process of putting this truck together and everything for months and months now. So it should be no surprise to anybody that we're getting a new rescue truck. We talked about it even when we were campaigning for the fire levy. That was one of the pieces of equipment that we were gonna purchase with it. The amount of money that we're financing for the truck is less than what we had put down in the levy as that piece that we were going to pay for the truck. I think we can hold everything for second readings. That will just delay things moving on getting the truck put together and delay longer that we get it. In my opinion, this topic of getting a new truck is very well vetted. Talked about it many times. The financing through Park National Bank is the same type deal that we did with the automatic meter readers for the water department. So that's that's nothing, not a new concept for us in how we're going to be financing the rest of the cost of the truck. I feel comfortable requesting that we waive the second reading on these ordinances. Jay had mentioned that tomorrow he's going to get a hold of Park so we can give him the final dollar figure and they can work on putting the paperwork together. Our goal is that ordinance will also be available for first reading next week as well. But even if for some reason that it's not and it gets held for a couple of weeks after, the ordinance authorizing me to sign the agreement with Pierce and the $100,000 to appropriate out of the fire levy, that'll get the ball rolling on getting the order in and start getting this thing built. If it's a big chunk of money it's a big chunk of money, and typically I don't think I would necessarily endorse waiving the second reading on it. However, the circumstance of this truck, we've talked about it so much. We campaigned on a fire levy last year to help pay for this new truck. I think it's a pretty well vetted topic.
What are we going to do with the old truck once we get the new one in a year or however long it takes to get it?
Pierce doesn't want it, as we have done in past tense. There are several companies that will help us sell it. So we've done that with a couple of trucks. Bring them out.
So we'll get some money out of it. We'll get something out of it.
I believe it's worth $25,000 minimum.
So are you going to strip it with stuff that's good that we can use other places?
Yeah, some of the equipment and all the hose, and that'll be the majority of everything on it. Will be a stripped out truck at that point. So there is some monies that will be returned to the fire levy.
I have no problem with Mayor as far as waiving. I mean,
and I
the two that aren't here.
Ask the way the second reading on that.
I mean, like you said, the money's. We did pass the levy in order to buy it, so
yeah,
let's buy it.
And the levy definitely going to pay for it, and it's going to, they have 290 days to complete this, so it's not like it's going to it's a custom built truck. And and our committee, I won't have nothing but good things to say about them. I took a back seat, and the paid and volunteer force stacked the truck and did a nice job. And if something's wrong with it, they're going to blame me anyway. But anyway.
That old truck's only worth $20,000.
There is hardly any value in old fire apparatus.
You'd think that there's so many smaller departments out there that would, and still, for a small department that doesn't have $500,000 to spend on a truck, would be glad to spend 75, 85,
How about the
100,000.
tires? Did we just buy new tires?
The problem, the problem I would think, Brian, though, would be even for a small department, the issues that led us to need to get a new rescue truck
Right.
still exist.
The tank supports and things, I wouldn't sell that truck without being honest. With another fire department, so it's gonna have to be stripped and redone, whoever buys it, but someone could get a good deal and make them a good truck for, especially if, so many of these smaller departments got their own maintenance people and can do some remarkable stuff in the house, so
Right.
save a lot of money. Does that pass?
It. I just put it. Okay.
Very good. Go ahead. You have something? Okay. My second legislative request is to waive bid process and purchase one Pierce Custom Saver, 1,500 gallon minute rescue pumper and the related equipment. And the price goes along with previously stated. I did not list where to and from on that because it's something that'll have to be done. I'm not exactly sure
Good question.
plays out.
That's actually by the first was the 100,000 to move the money and that's to actually purchase. Yeah.
This is for me to sign the purchase agreement
Yeah.
with.
Anybody got any questions?
Just make sure we get all the financing in place before you purchase it, because if they back out and Park backs out, all of a sudden it's like,
You might put down yes or it needs to be.
Park goes and goes, we're going to double it
Okay,
right
we
now.
got that out of the way. Monthly expense report. You can see 2014, 2015, the wages, the overtime, and compared to last year, we're down. How much?
But Chief, I was just going to say those numbers don't make sense. If the 15 wages are 101, how can the total be 103?
That's overtime, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, the overtime, that's total, right?
Probably the overtime.
Yeah.
Overtime's more than the wages.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's total year overtime. You know, I look at these things every month, and I don't know why. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 28,695 for the month of May,
I got
with
you.
a total of 103. When you look just
So
above that,
our wages for the year have increased ballpark it at 5,000 something.
I'll tell you, Mayor, I
And
brought
the
those
overtime
slips.
has reduced by 36,000. Is that right?
Yes.
That's what I'm reading. Okay.
And that just depends on how the pays fall in that monthly period.
Yeah.
But here are the stats that Debbie, that I
No.
pulled that information from, and that's what she submitted to me for my report.
You're down 36,000.
Yeah. Okay, under equipment, Lucas device, we talked about that. I had got a demo set up for that on the 18th. If anybody wants to come over at 2:30 in the afternoon at Station 1. This is that battery-powered CPR compressing device that we're going to have one shortly here. And I told you I'm going to raise some money, and we are writing an energy co-op grant. Knocked out about 3/4 of that the other day, and Ron Worth's going to finish it up. Going to still contact a couple citizens in the community that have indicated that they would like to help us with a piece of equipment. We've already got a $300 donation, and the rain comes. $300 from the Eagles for its hard equipment, and $4,200 from the state of Ohio that can be spent on EMS equipment. So I'm going to total those in this piece of equipment. $13,000 for a single. Eventually, we will own two of them, one for each medic. But in the meantime, and Eagle came in the other day and used it on our cardiac arrest. So electrocution, whatever. But still not sure exactly how that's going to play out. I'm anxious to see the results of the autopsy. Just there wasn't a lot of indication of that, and so anyway, that's another story. But if anybody wants to see it in action, it'll be at the station. We do have. I'm sorry.
June 18th. It's on your.
June 18th, it's on the.
It says it on there. June 18th at 2:30.
2:30 at Station 1.
Chief, do you have another agenda, please?
Yes.
Please do that. Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry about that, Cletus.
Well, I had one.
I've got, let's see, live fire training, the fire academy is bringing over, this will be something interesting to come over, their live fire burn trailer or whatever on the 27th and 28th at our station 1, and so our people as well as some of the surrounding departments have an opportunity. I've never seen it, but I guess it's propane fired and all, but they get the heat fire and such. Gonna send Jamie Jones to instructor school. That's something he's wanted to do. He's an excellent instructor. He did a lot of that at the airport, and when it's made available, we're gonna send him and then cross-train him as
What's he going to be instructing?
fire. And then with a bridge course, he'll be able to do EMS training too. And that's the one area that we just don't. Earl Miller right now is the only one that can do in-house stuff. And if Earl's not there, the training can't really be counted towards recertification hours. And if we have another fire EMS instructor.
They're on different shifts. Correct.
They actually work the same shift. So
It's that.
it's not a problem. So he's going, and then number 3, the Guardian Shield drill. That's a drill coming up on the 17th and 18th of this month. It's a statewide drill. It's being held over at the state. At least Licking County's portion of this is going to be held over at the Fire Academy on the 17th. Licking County is going to have from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. the hazmat team, and it's going to be their day to play and such. Hoffman is on duty that day, but I'm going to bring in somebody to cover his shift so he can go. I'm going to participate. Doug Brown, for one, has to go. He won't be on duty, but there could be overtime involved. But the EMA has stated that they should be able to cover the overtime costs. So I've heard that before, and I'm not going to hold my breath. But
Who said that to you?
Sean Grady.
Maybe I missed it, I apologize. Statewide training and what, Guardian Shield?
Yeah, what is
It's
Guardian
a-
Shield?
It's going to be multiple hazardous material incidences, and there's law enforcement, the National Guard. They're going
Is
to
this like a terrorism response type thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And with the training grounds over at the academy, they can have railroad emergencies. They're going to have active shooters, and it's just going to be, at least in Licking County, it's hosted at the Fire Academy. I'm not sure how many other players in different locations. Have you heard anything about that? So, anyway, we're going to be participants in that best we can, and several of the county departments are participating. But there are going to be a couple people on overtime. Old business, I did contact, and we are on a list. Jim Meyer, or excuse me, Rick Meyer. Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's with Department of Natural Resources, and he actually procures these pieces of equipment and stuff. He helped us with the grant for the 6x and all, but so he's on the lookout for the ARC vehicle. I tried to get a hold of the guard base up in Mansfield today, and every number I dialed, including the commander and the commander's secretary, went to voicemail, leave a message, and then it said unavailable and clicked me off. So, or did it click me off? But anyway, so we're on a list. I'm filling out some more paperwork, and we'll see what happens on that.
That crash truck.
On that crash truck, that's correct. Extra staffing for fireworks because of security issues, and Hoffman is on duty the day of, and he needs to be free, and as one of the 5, I'm going to bring someone in to cover his shift, and I probably will bring one other person in to help secure the site. Law enforcement's going to provide one with your ATV, and I'll provide a UTV and a firefighter to make sure that site is
Okay.
secure.
Talking about the hill there at Geller Park. Set the fireworks off from behind them.
Once the fireworks arrive, that has to be. Last year they had problems with some of them walking the bike path and walking up into a danger area. You got to rope it off at a certain point, and you can put barricades and barrier tape up, and they just walk through that stuff. So anyway, we're gonna make sure it doesn't happen again. Just as I was pulling in the parking lot, I got a call again. We have put money and in the last. Long story short, it's time to replace, and I'm going to go ahead. I have the money in the budget. I'm going to replace the air conditioning furnace at Station 2. And you're talking 17 years. I've had them in for repairs multiple times here recently, and they're without air conditioning. The blower motor is a $500 expense, and it's destined to be replaced here very quickly, according to the repair people. So that's something that I have to do.
How much?
I have one quote right now for about $7,200 that's a total system.
Who are we getting quotes from?
Blue Cart, Houston, and Elite is the only quote I have right now. And the other two I should have in 24 hours. So,
If you're doing
I'm
the
sorry.
furnace and the condenser and A-coil and everything.
That's correct.
Not just the
And a complete system.
condenser and A-coil.
And that's what it has been back and forth. The furnace didn't want to ignite, and one guy tells me the blower motor's about shot, and of course they have separate windings and get weak. But this last 3 visits have been air conditioning, condenser fan, condenser. I think the compressor gets too hot and clogs up. Because it was working last night till about 5 o'clock, and then it shut down. And I checked again today, and I'm just tired of messing with it. No sense putting good money into something that's going to destined to be replaced. I think if you get 17 years out of the heating cooling system,
That's not a bad price. That's cost me about $6,000 for my home.
well, and Station 2 pretty much is some of it's commercial grade stuff, but I mean that's like a residential area. It's not a lot of square footage like Station 1 is. So anyway, that's going to happen. And that being said, Station 1, of course, we have 2 commercial hot water tanks, and I've had one shut down for an extended period of time, and it's been leaking and rusty, and the other one keeps popping off the pressure relief, and we've replaced that once, and it's still doing. So they're in the same boat, and we're going to have someone come in, and that isn't going to be cheap. I don't have a quote on that yet. Part of the reason I called Houston is they probably can give me a ballpark of what it's going to cost to replace. I'm not going to replace the system that is currently in there, which was 2 100-gallon hot water tanks, skull valves, and all kinds of things, expansion tanks. I think that station was built for 7 people on duty, and there's only 3 there, and of course laundry and such. But if we can get by with a much smaller system,
Yeah.
and that being said,
I mean, I was trying to think other than personal use. Couldn't think of much reason
I mean,
for
they're
hot
running,
water
they're
usage.
running a laundry there and such, but yeah, it does not warrant running the system that we've got.
Yeah.
Oh, they gas you all that.
Oh, they're gas.
Yes.
So, anyway, I'm going to research that, and it's going to have to be done here in the near future, but I'll keep you informed. Let's see, other than that, just about any questions? Thank you for coming in. Sure.
No problem. Thanks for calling us today. We enjoyed it.
Talk about the squeaky wheel.
And we will move on to police. Sergeant Smart.
Thanks for filling in.
Oh, hey, no problem. Glad to be here. I don't really know the customs here, so if I violate any rules or anything,
Wing.
Don't like this guy in violated a few.
Yeah.
I have to follow it.
Telling you hair looks nice. And
Okay. For our statistics, you guys can probably pretty much do your own math or your calculators, but calls for service are down. Offense reports up slightly. Same for arrests and accidents, pretty much in the ballpark, but just up a little bit. And our citations were actually up quite a bit compared to last year.
We're glad to see the calls for service come down a little bit.
Yeah, they're
That's what keeps you guys running all over the place.
yeah, most of those calls are a lot of them don't even involve any type of crime or anything. So assistance or information given, but yeah, that does make a difference for us. Saves us on some run around time. Overtime usage we're down. This year is 14,037. Last year was 19,021. Year to date, we are down by almost $12,000 there. So we've saved quite a bit of overtime usage. And I kind of I think a lot of that has to do with we kind of fluctuated how we do our schedule now. We've kind of moved one of our 5 p.m. 3 a.m. guys to 8 to 10, so I kind of picked up on covering a little bit of coverage and kind of picking up on or less than some of the overtime. Also, it's only, I'm kind of reading what Chief Mason's put down here, so you may have questions I may not be able to answer, but I'll do my best. Alarms, no reports. June 3rd.
By no reports, that means that he did not have the data.
I could tell you. I don't know what
I'm
that
going to
means.
interpret it as that probably being the case.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't answer that.
All right, that's fine.
June 3rd, this past June 3rd, the County 911 did an software update for their new system over there. So they sent some of their guys over to our department to basically run as a backup 911 here. Why they did that? Because they were down and they couldn't answer calls. So it was kind of a trial for us too, to see how it worked out. From what Chief Mason here was written down for us, there were some areas of improvement that were identified. However, for the most part, it ran smoothly. And it's very important for us to be the backup 911 system for the county. That's good for the county. It's also good for us. So that's good news. It's good to hear that we're okay. Also, I think we are also updating our software as well here and equipment to accommodate the county.
Yeah, we've talked about that, I think, in recent months about how, dating back to last fall, we had meetings with Sean Brady, who's the EMA director for Licking County, and most recently, I think a couple of months ago or so, had a meeting with Commissioners Black and Flowers regarding the county's need to adhere to the agreement that we have in place as part of the backup to the 911 center. They're helping us with replacing some hardware that needs to be addressed. Moving forward, we also just spoke generally about the need for there to be more coordinated exercises where the switch is flipped and we are operating as if something has happened in the 911 center in a backup, and the need for probably some additional training as the county has evolved and is continuing to evolve their system. We, to some extent, were kind of an afterthought in some of this whole process, and so that could potentially create an unsafe situation if we're not fully capable and ready to go should the 911 center go down. So we're continuing to work on those fronts and trying to meet those objectives.
So moving on to the Mopar cruise ends coming up here in August. We're all braced for that. We're working closely with our local businesses. So one got board sitting behind down the corridor here. I'm sure you're probably all aware the goal was to shift the cruise in away from Southgate further south and expand it from Heath all the way down to Buckeye Lake. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. We want to try to get the cooperation of the citizens and try to get them to move or stretch out, I guess, a little bit, give us some elbow room and try to relieve the pressure off the Southgate that we have every year. So that's the plan. I know the mayor's been working with a lot of the businesses as well as for the National Trail down there and getting that done. For our part, we've constructed a letter to the businesses to kind of explain what we're trying to do. And also we kind of offered them a letter of agreement, basically. And what the agreement says is that we can act on their behalf during the Mopar event if there is a person that's on the property acting in a manner that would create annoyance for them. Oftentimes we have an issue with somebody who's on the property acting in a manner that would require us to contact the business first. Hey, do you want this person removed or not? If they sign this letter of agreement, they're giving us permission to go ahead and do that without having to go through the police. And also for the businesses that are closed during this time frame. Haven't got to all the businesses yet. I think we got like maybe 20, 25 more to go to get those letters out. We've already got several responses back. We're working on that as we speak. So hopefully by August we'll have as many as we can to assist us with assisting them.
What's the dates in August? Do you know?
It's going to be August. We got it somewhere.
Is it the 8th or the 15th?
I'm going to say it's the 8th.
I think it is the 8th. Yeah.
I want to say it's the 8th.
That's Saturday.
That's Saturday.
Yes. Sorry, 7th. Well, 7th and the 8th. It's Friday and Saturday. Technically, the cruise is on Saturday, but we always have the initial draw on Friday night.
Right.
So you get a little pregame going on.
Pretty much, yes. And so Friday's always almost as big as Saturday.
Pre-cruise.
What percentage of letters do you think we have back yet?
Well, I can't give you a percentage. I don't know. I can tell you off the top of my head. I think we only have probably 7 or 8 back so far.
Has anybody refused?
No,
Contacted us and refused to give us permission?
No, no one has contacted us to refuse. Now, a lot of them are telling me, and some of the other officers when we're delivering, is that they have to contact their legal counsel to ensure that. So, and that's understandable. So I actually wasn't expecting the immediate response that we've gotten from some of the people sent it back the same day.
Yeah.
So we've only got 7 or 8, which is great. I foresee more coming at some point.
Hi guys, didn't mean to bother you, but I fixed the bump machine to put the dollar bill thing on. It's okay. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I've got 2 of them in, and they're flashing. I said, it's supposed to be a solid red light. So he sent me another one. Solid red light works. So
Okay. Thank you.
That's good to go. Thanks.
Good.
So no, I don't have a percentage for you, but in fact, even 1 is great. But we're really want
Let
to
me know
focus
if
on
you need any help on follow-up on those. I'll be willing to make phone calls or whatever.
the big one would be Southgate. I think Chief Mason's working on that. That's the big one.
You think businesses or people that you're moving everything further south?
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I know some of the ones I talk about when I go to them and say Mopar's coming up, their response is, So I think, and many of the ones who've been around this past Mopars know that when the spectators show up, that decreases the amount of revenue that they're going to make because no one can park. So I think some of them realize that it is an issue and that they're appreciative of us trying to look at it and try to help them out with it. But so far, no one has outright refused or was upset about us approaching them. And the letter itself is very, and I can make a copy for you guys if you like, but it's real easy going, more or less. Just here's some information. If you want help, let us know. If not, so.
Were you suggesting that the northernmost part of this?
It's right there.
Tri-County?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the goal. Is to start it there and all the way down to Buckeye Lake, basically.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Down to the state park.
So
I talked to, I'll update everybody here. I talked to Carol over at the Convention and Visitors Bureau today on this topic because I was a little concerned that we hadn't had any meetings recently about the event. She told me that late last week she had spoken with Mike Fornatero, who operates the track. He has been coordinating with the various locations along the route that are going to be hosting events. You know, Tri-County, I think for the past 2 or 3 years has done a really good event. You know, some bands, you know, some food and that kind of thing, and quite a few of the folks from out of town really have enjoyed just kind of parking their cars there and hanging out at Tri-County's event. I spoke with Brian, well, it was when we were turning in the rental car from the Armed Forces Day Parade. He's already got, you know, his plans working for this year's event for Mopar. Mike Fornatero's working with the other locations along there that are holding the different events, so I feel good that there has been progress made along that front. I informed her that that we were preparing to do what we needed to do from a staffing, you know, from a law enforcement staffing standpoint, to handle this being the turnaround point. We'll send them down the lane. They can turn around in the pool parking lot and then head back down the road for the cruise route. Obviously, I don't think Brian has needed much help from us, from the police department for his event. But if there's anything that we can do for him, you know, we'll look to help him. I made sure Carol understood that I felt there was a need, at least for the law enforcement agencies along the route, to meet so that we can have communication, coordination, make sure that some of the departments who maybe have not dealt with this in the past understand the typical behavior and things that could be happening. Also have them see if there's any mutual aid assistance that they, you know, might need or make a request from OSP for. But I made it clear to Carol, as I've done with the whole group, you know, multiple times that's been working on this new route. The city of Heath will, with a smile on our face, welcome the people to cruise along what is the designated cruise route. At the same time, we will be doing everything we possibly can to deter any such behavior on the roads or behavior on the sides of the roads north of the route. So, to tee up your last item on the agenda, we've got a legislative request to appropriate $15,000 from within the general fund. The source of that money is our bed tax money, to the independent service contract line item in the police budget. Chief Mason has priced out the cost for special duty officers to be hired in for both the Friday and Saturday nights of the event. These would be 20 additional people and their cars for both nights of the event. So this would be 20 from Newark PD, Sheriff's Office. I don't know if OSP is going to offer any or not as part of that package. But
I think it says 10 from Newark and 10 from the county. So
there you go. So we'll have 20 additional police officers and their vehicles, which is important, on top of our already fully staffed department for both of those nights. So I envision, you know, like I said, I envision some law enforcement presence here just to, you know, get traffic moving through this turnaround point as efficiently as possible. I'm not sure that we'll have, you know, I don't envision us having a real heavy law enforcement presence south of here, because that's where we want them to go. And if that's where they're going, then that's fantastic. But, you know, you can take a 180-degree pivot on that attitude north of the cruise route. We're going to do everything that we possibly can to ensure that there is no type of cruising activity or behavior, that we've seen in the past north of the designated route.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd just like to kind of maybe add a little that our guests from out of town are not the ones we have problems with.
Absolutely not.
And it needs to be, I think, an educated thing to let the people in Licking County who come and clown around know that the city of Heath, with the help from Newark and whatever, are going to clamp down. And that north of here is going to be stopped.
Yes. Yep.
That
Well, I would hope that by increasing the police presence north of the route by an additional 20 out-of-town officers, it surely will decrease the space that we have had between what we've been able to staff in the past. And you're right, Doug, that the vast majority of the problems are not caused by the folks who come from out of town. In fact, many of the folks who come from out of town with their cars don't want to cruise because they're afraid of the conditions on the road from those that are. On Friday, I had a meeting here that involved Dan Motor, who's the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and some others, and somehow or another we got on the topic of Mopar, and I'm, pretty consistent with the fact that with the statement that our problems do not primarily come from those who come from all over the country to, enjoy the Mopar Nationals down at the track. It's the 17-year-old in the souped-up Honda Civic from Hanover that we have problems with. We're going to do, spending this money out of the bed tax money, I think, is an appropriate use of that revenue because obviously Mopar fills every hotel in Licking County and beyond for that, few 4 or 5 days or whatever. But if we don't have an event, something that the folks from out of town can have fun participating in, then the track's not going to have the Mopar Nationals anymore, and we're not going to have that bed tax revenue from the hotel rooms in town being rented out for 4 or 5 nights in a row or whatever for the event. And so, we think that by taking this step, we're, number one, providing an enjoyable cruise route and experience all along the route for the people who are going to be participating. And number two, better managing a very dangerous safety concern in the area where the cruise route has typically taken place. And if we do this and we find that it has been effective, that'll be great. And if it doesn't, then next year we'll look to do something even more to ensure that what we want to see is what happens.
Please. Anybody else have any questions for them?
That's all that I have for my agenda.
Should be, let's say the request should be on the back. If you want to sign yours, Brian, I'll sign it.
We're going finance.
Had some people the other day to tell me that they really appreciate the police department. They've seen more, the last several months, they've seen more police cars on the road than they ever have since they lived in Heath. They like
They
it.
change the color.
What's that?
They just change the color.
Yeah.
That's all right. Oh, they know who they are.
Any other questions for
Sergeant Smart, do you happen to know, oh yeah, I wrote that, yeah. Do you happen to know, a few months ago or whatever, Chief Mason and I, we met with the people who operate the Heath Safety Youth Athletic Association ball program down at Hoback. Sure. And one of the things that we talked about was to have from time to time, a police officer come through, even get out of the car, walk through the park, maybe get a hot dog at the concession stand or something like that, just to be seen. Sure. Do you know if that if that has been increased this ball season?
Well, that's first I've heard of it. You're talking about on the weekends or throughout the week?
Yeah, sometimes we have problems with parents who think it's the 7th game of the World Series.
Yeah, I have not heard of that. No one's said anything to me about it. I typically work the weekends too, so I can most certainly make an inquiry about that and get that happening. I don't know if you think we can get a hold of a game schedule or calendar or something?
Now that school's out, especially in the evenings, they're pretty much
Friday.
I can tell you that for us, it seems like about 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is the magic number. Between 1 and 2 p.m. That's where everything starts kicking up for day shift. From there, we're set on the go. And at 5 p.m. when the second shift comes in, it's on the go. At 9 o'clock, we're done. It just seems like everybody just goes home. I don't know why it is. 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been like that, but it's the complete opposite. So, if we can get some guys free to go and cruise through there, I'm sure there's not anybody that wouldn't mind doing that because everybody likes to go watch some sports with the kids.
Yeah.
I would too, as a matter of fact. My daughter's in softball, so that wouldn't be a problem. But this is like kind of the first I've heard of it. No one's ever said anything to me about it, sent an email. So I'll make an inquiry and I'll actually make that happen.
Okay.
Make that happen. So
okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, along that same line, Debbie and I, sometimes walk the path and sometimes go down through there and stuff like that. And I know they've got like some no parking signs, different places down here, and I know parking's a premium, especially when they're switching between the first game and the second game now and stuff. But they got signs no parking, and the road going through there is kind of narrow anyway. And some of these people, it's almost like it doesn't apply to them, and they'll pull their big vehicle and still be half on the asphalt, half in the grass, and now you can't walk to get through, or two cars will be coming, and of course you got the kids going to and from their cars to get to the game and stuff. Yeah. And it's just a safety hazard to go through that. And the reason it's
they parking over by where the ball diamond is for the Christian school there?
No. That's not bad. I'm sorry. Actually in the ballpark itself.
Oh.
Like field 1, which would be the softball field, okay?
Yeah.
That outside fence, it's the grass space is small.
Yeah.
They have no parking there except but still people park
I see.
Right where the entrance gate is or something like that, but then there's that area, and they park right along here like parallel, so they can watch the games. I get out of their vehicle or whatever, but it narrows it down. And if someone on that side, and then you have people coming. Well, sometimes the people try to go around, and stuff, and it's just one of the things where years ago the fence that's like field 5, that split rail fence, they used to set back further. Well, people start parking along there. Well, foul ball, and a kid go running out to get the foul ball, and it's like dangerous stuff. So. I wish some of the cars that parked along here would get a home run hit and the ball would smash a windshield or two, and then maybe they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I know parking's a premium, and everyone says, where else to park? But you can park all the way up at the shelter house and walk down if you want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
I know you got to park over by the river walk area there.
But every time we've gone through there, when I look and I see that, okay, there's still spots, and there's stuff, there's places to park or in the grass and like that. But I've always thought that I don't know how official like the no parking signs are, and whether you can take it, not take. But if you do go through, all it would take is probably one time when one police car comes through. And someone say, "What's he doing?" Oh, they're going to ticket all these cars. That'd probably be the last time anyone ever parks there. You know what I mean?
Or if Jay's towing truck pulled in and started to hook somebody up.
And maybe we have to start. It's like at the football games when we make the announcement. You're parked in the grass motor, we're going to tow you, and then we have Jay's. And we bring Jay's towing truck in. You'd be surprised how fast people come out of the stands and start moving their cars when they see a tow truck pull.
Yeah. What's the rule on that, Sergeant Smart? Do you have to post it per ordinance, whatever? We can ticket you?
I have to look at that because as far as the parking goes, we really deal with public streets, and that's private property, technically speaking. So I don't know how if we can even enforce that with there might be
if we made a city ordinance.
If we made it a city ordinance that they didn't park there,
possibly. You will have to
law director.
To discuss that with them because. You have
they
to
do
work
tow off the school grounds there in front of the middle school, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would.
Maybe we can't ticket, but maybe we could tow.
I mean, I'm just, and maybe they don't want to cause a problem, but, you know, I don't think a lot of times people realize what kind of a safety factor they're causing.
Yeah, it's
By doing that,
Not them.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they just want to be close to
That
train,
sign
you know.
doesn't apply to me.
You can get one car through then at that point, but you can't get two.
And by the same token, if there would be, I mean, you know, maybe a kid get hurt or something like that, or the police or the squad has to show up, and you got these cars parked, you know, so now they can't get as close as they need to get.
Yeah.
I think on the flip side, like, you have to have proper, even if there was an ordinance, you have to have proper signage to begin with, and also have to make sure you have enough signage.
Right.
To really,
Yeah. From here to here and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we could get that if it comes to that. But, you know, I'm just saying, it's just one of the things that every year it seems like, and usually it's the beginning of the season, because you have new people that aren't used to, you know, and then eventually, and maybe they just need to make announcements at the ballpark, or give out information to the coaches and say, hey, tell your parents and grandparents and aunts, cousins, whatever, you know, don't park.
I don't know. If
That probably wouldn't do it. Announcements, like I say, you know, have Jay's hook up a car, and then we'll see how fast people come running.
Word mouth will fly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Anybody else? We'll adjourn at 6:26.
Thank you.
See you, Freddie.